Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cheap Seats Network. You are hanging out with yours truly. It's Andrew here. Now, I wanted to say first and foremost, thank you so much for the support and the love that was shown on the last video regarding the whole kind of rant that I had about the NHL draft lottery. It's good to see in the comment section we had a few comments of people agreeing and feeling the same way, and hopefully, that leads to something with the NHL, because fans are not happy about it. I've spoken to a lot of people who obviously weren't even a part of that video, and everybody seems to hate this draft lottery system that they have, and especially the result that we saw over this past weekend. It shouldn't be surprising. Well, with this brings more news regarding the NHL and some more unhappiness regarding the league. Now, you might remember if you did watch last video. If you haven't, I do recommend that you go and check it out. I mentioned something along the lines of the NHL being an absolute disaster and a joke of a league right now compared to every other league when it comes to the restart. And one of the things I mentioned is we don't even know if we are going to be playing hockey this year, or for the rest of the season, I should say, because first and foremost, the NHL doesn't even have their hub cities picked. They're still deciding as of today, as of me recording this, I believe it is 5 cities they are still unsure about, which is a joke. As I mentioned, I'm going to use that word a lot. And now, they decided first and foremost we had to get the draft lottery out of the way. Well, now something comes out today from Eric Engels. And he mentioned, if you don't know who Eric Engels is, he works for Sportsnet, and he speaks to a lot of the players most of the time. And he said over the past 2 days he's been in conversation with quite a few players and wanted to share tidbits of what a lot of them were saying regarding the NHL, the NHLPA, and where they stand right now about resuming play. Now, before we go on, I want to say that this is obviously a big topic, and I think it is being handled, again, poorly by the NHL. You look at the NBA. The NBA has told players, listen, if you do not feel comfortable coming to Florida, where we are going to do the reset, if you're worried about your health, your family, it is totally okay if you don't come. We've seen John Wall, one of the Wizards' best players, step down and not go in. DeAndre Jordan, who just tested positive yesterday, who plays on Brooklyn, he announced he's not going to be going for, again, the safety of himself as well as the other people there, saying, it's not a good idea if I do go, considering I just tested positive for the virus. And I think it's being handled very well. Even in baseball, you saw the Toronto Blue Jays, they went down to Florida for their training because that's where their affiliate is, and within a day they had multiple players and coaches test positive for COVID-19, and they're already on the back home to Toronto. They're already back here in Canada, and it's kind of showing that some things are being set in motion a little bit too quickly. But as for the NHL, again, their first priority was fan pondering, money, and now they're like, okay, maybe we should kind of handle the situation with the players. So, reading what Eric Engels said, these are his tweets coming in. He said, over the last 2 days, I've been speaking with players from around the NHL who are quite concerned about a return to play. I'm going to paraphrase some of these sentiments over a few tweets here. So he kind of goes on. He says, I want to stress every player I spoke with has requested to be anonymous for obvious reasons. Makes sense. So we'll start off with tweet number 1 about one player. One player said a majority of the players do not want to return to play this summer. Estimated about 75% of the players in the play-ins do not want to play. That's crazy. When you have, again, this is from one player, saying 75% of the players don't feel comfortable because there is still no plan in place, that's bad. That is not good for the NHL. Going on with that one, he said, though they're concerned with financial pitfalls of that decision, they're more concerned about risking and contracting the virus as well as serious injury before having to cram in the 2021 season. Here's the thing, we could have the season in a couple months and have this go down, but the thing that people might not realize is for next season, it's probably going to be a shortened season, and it is going to be jam-packed for a few months. For these players, especially the guys who got to play in the play-ins and go all the way to the Cup final, this is a disaster. This is injury waiting to happen for a lot of guys. Hence why, again, according to this player, a lot of guys don't feel safe going back right now. Reading the next tweet, I'm glad I'm not alone in this. The word a joke is used, again, which I use a lot. Another player said that calls with the NHLPA, their own players association, have been, and I quote, a joke. and that they have only worried about the financial situation with everything. Again, they are making it about the money and the pondering to the casual fan, which I said last video. Now that you have players coming out and saying the same thing, that should be eye-opening to the hardcore fan like us, that they clearly don't give a you-know-what about what the players are thinking right now. Another player shared the following opinion after acknowledging that players would likely vote yes in an eventful proposal that gets brought to them. This was a text message screen cap that he said, everyone's gonna play, nobody's gonna opt out, playoff bonuses are higher, and it's free money for everyone if we do get to play. Hockey is a different culture. So you got one guy who's saying nobody's gonna opt out, and you got another player saying, well, 75% of the guys I talk to don't wanna go back. So again, the conversation resolves around money. This dude, whoever was in this message, literally just said, yeah, but those playoff bonuses, that's okay. Again, totally risking COVID-19 for money. I don't know, it looks bad. He ends it off by saying, all players I spoke with are frustrated about being kept largely in the dark about how their safety will be when they resume play. Again, the reason they're in the dark is because the NHL doesn't have a damn clue what they're doing. Gary Bettman, Bill Daly, everybody of those clowns in the circus have no idea what they are doing right now. The NBA is the only one who has got it right. They are. Baseball has been a disaster. We just talked about the Jays, but they've at least got things in motion, and they're allowing players, hey, if you don't feel comfortable, sit out. Ryan Zimmerman, who has been a part of the Nationals since they started and is still playing, announced yesterday, I'm going to sit out because I don't think this is safe. And the team's not holding it against him. The league's not holding it against him. They told him, hey man, it's cool. If you want to sit out for the 60 games that we're going to play, go ahead. And they're totally fine with that. Like I said with basketball, they are doing the same thing. Hey, if you don't feel comfortable, don't come. It's totally fine. We will not hold it against you. And you're seeing a lot of players step up and say, yeah, I'm not going. I don't feel that this is safe. I don't think that this is well worked. And that is, again, totally okay. But then you have the NHL, where they aren't even telling their players anything. Like they said, every single player is frustrated because they have no idea what is going on, and anytime the conversation comes up, it seems to just be about money, bonuses, and everything else, not about the health and safety. I mean, you've had Antoni Panarin, who has been usually a quiet guy, come out and put an open letter questioning the NHL about what is next for them to move forward. To me, this should be pretty telling when you have, players now openly coming out and saying, listen, we need to know what's happening because we need to plan our lives for our families and for everyone else. And I honestly feel bad for these guys. Yes, they're millionaires, they make a lot of money, but this is their livelihood. And if it's something you love is kind of almost turning against you and saying, hey, we don't even know what the heck we're doing, but we're going to try and make it work, and here's the draft lottery that's rigged. Yeah, it is. And here's everything else that we could do to keep us on TV. Oh, but you guys, the guys who actually are the driving force of this league, the players, we'll worry about you last. It's a disaster. I hate how everything is being run with the NHL. It is making a lot of other sports look terrible. Even though, again, a lot of them are doing it so well. I mean, soccer in Europe has done it perfectly. No fans, they're doing testing, and in Europe as a whole, their coronavirus cases have dropped. And that's a great thing. But here in North America, people don't want to listen, and things aren't enforced, and it's a whole political war, obviously. And it's starting to carry over into sports for that reason, where it's becoming a COVID-related argument between players. This is where the league has to step in, put their foot down, and make a decision that is the best for everyone. If it is canceling the season and still allowing players to get some sort of bonus or compensation, so be it. It's fine. We're gonna have to live with it just like we have with everything else that has happened so far. Let me know your thoughts. Again, thank you for the support over the last video, and for this one as well, leave some comments down below. I'm curious to know what you think the NHL should be doing. What do you think about players reportedly stepping up and saying that they are unhappy with the way things are going? And of course, leave a like and subscribe if you are new here. It's been Andrew from the Cheap Seats Network. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. Stay tuned for more updates.